Welcome to Married to Movies. Industry insiders John Russell and Tracy Kring live and work happily in cinematrimony. They're sharing behind-the-scenes adventures of writing, producing, and appreciating films.
Good morning, babe.
Morning, babe. How you doing?
Good. We're back to eating.
Back to eating because that's what God intended. That's the way God wants it to be.
Huh.
I wanted
Very cool.
to ask you last night because we didn't talk about it. Used Cars was on.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Kurt Russell,
Used Cars. I remember when I saw that movie when I was like a little kid. And that movie's like set, I think it's like 1978 or something. Like Jimmy Carter is president.
This is a Pluto find, right? It was on Pluto.
Yes, it was on Pluto. I was shocked at how violent it was. I was shocked at how dirty it was. There was like a lot of nudity in it. I was shocked but this is like little me.
Little you was a conservative.
Well, a little bit. But I really loved it. It's sort of in that meatballs category. It feels like a character that maybe Bill Murray got offered and didn't end up playing. Fun. Yeah, but I think Kurt Russell is so great in it. He's such a slime ball. He's like the perfect anti-hero in it. He is. But you know what I was struck by last night was that there was a time when they just didn't give a shit about safety when they made movies.
Oh, no.
Car crashes and jumps and hundreds of cars driving across the desert. It's insane.
Yeah, that's a logistical and insurance nightmare, I'm sure now.
Yes.
But, I mean, the reason that we are the way we are today is because they killed so many people back then.
That's true. There are stories of like in cowboy movies where they would like lose like, they would
kill horses.
Five or 10 horses a shoot. Yeah, exactly.
Well, isn't it like that Twilight Zone movie where they just fucking hack people in two with a helicopter? Is that Twilight Zone? Am I right?
That was Twilight Zone, the movie.
They're like some kids and a dude that just get mowed down.
This is all correct. One of the stories that they remake is based on this bigot, and he keeps on becoming the thing that he is prejudiced against in different parts in history. John Landis, who was tried in a court of law for this, the explosions went off too close to a helicopter, and the helicopter went down, and it was him and like two little Vietnamese children actors, and yeah, that was the end.
Messed up, man.
That was the end of it. Yeah.
Well, modern day.
But he didn't go to jail.
Well, you got things like the dude from The Crow gets killed.
Brandon Lee.
You got the girl who was trying to save shit from the railroad tracks that got killed.
Yeah.
You got this gun recently with Alec Baldwin.
Right, rushed. Yeah.
I hate having guns on set. Well, 3 things that really make my bones hurt: looking at guns, seeing someone else hurt, and raising my voice.
Wow. That's very interesting.
If I raise my voice, my legs hurt. Inside.
Right. So if you were in a gunfight and had to yell while firing a gun,
fall over.
You would just explode in a bloody.
It'd be like Scanners.
Yes, Scanners. Oh my God.
There's no way we would have said, "Hey, let's watch Used Cars."
Oh, hell no. Never.
It's Pluto.
Yeah, it's Pluto. Pluto does a great job. You know what I found also on Pluto last night, which I'm totally going to take advantage of, is they have music video channels. They had like 80s rock. And they had Bon Jovi, and it was like, okay, yeah, Bon Jovi's fine, whatever. Not that big of a fan. But it was Lay Your Hands on Me by Bon Jovi. I mean, that's a much more obscure track.
Everything had a music video back then.
I know, man. I really loved music videos. And so many great directors started in music videos.
Yeah.
Like Spike Jonze and David Fincher. And I mean, there's a lot of great directors.
Did Fincher do the George Michael one?
Yes.
One?
Yes, he did. David Fincher did the George Michael one. We watched a couple other movies. So random. There's a movie called Allied with Brad Pitt.
I don't know where you found this.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That was one of those movies that I had seen And I would always be like, oh, wow, there's a Brad Pitt movie I've never seen. I generally like almost all Brad Pitt movies. Directed by Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah, I was like,
that was the really weird thing. I was like, Robert Zemeckis, like Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Robert Zemeckis is doing like a World War II spy romance. What?
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, Forrest Gump, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, it did not feel like a Robert Zemeckis film at all.
Wrong. The opening shot of the film is like the sky. Mm-hmm. With like music. And I was like, wow, is the feather going to be falling down soon?
Oh, interesting.
And then it was the guy parachuting in to the desert.
You know, I didn't see that at the very beginning.
Well, watch the beginning again.
And it feels like Forrest Gump?
It's a total, you're like, oh, Zemeckis.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. It was beautiful.
It was a great movie.
I don't know if it was a great movie.
I really liked it.
I liked it though.
He meets this girl and they're like spies together and he's really in love with her and they get married and then it's like,
don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Is she
really a German agent or not?
Anyway, it was lovely.
Did they have a chemistry?
I don't know.
We've seen chemistry with Brad Pitt. When Brad Pitt did Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Holy God, that was chemistry. Beautiful and well-paced and, enjoyed that movie. Then, talking about a movie that wasn't necessarily well-paced, but also beautiful, we saw the movie Spaceman, which is a Netflix joint. Adam Sandler. Very, very slow, almost Solaris-like performance.
That's an insult to Solaris, in my opinion.
I mean, Solaris.
Both of them.
Well, Solaris is amazing, but I thought Adam Sandler was great. Actually, anytime Adam Sandler is a serious actor, I'm all in for it.
Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love, incredible. Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems. He's fantastic in Uncut Gems. Even in that Spanglish movie, or funny
Spanglish makes me cry so much. Damn that movie.
Or funny people, or movies where he is really tapping into his emotional side. He really does seem like a deep dude. It had just this one thing in it that was so weird that it was hard to get over. My
issue was the guy's name is Jakob. Mm-hmm. His wife's name is Alenka. Mm-hmm. Hamush is the name of the monster. Everything has Czechoslovakian branding.
Absolutely. Everything has Czechoslovakian branding. Some of the story is the history of Czechoslovakia.
And he's from Brooklyn. He's
he's not from Brooklyn. His character is supposed to be from Czechoslovakia.
Adam Sandler is from Brooklyn.
Exactly.
Carey Mulligan is British.
Yeah.
Isabella Rossellini
is like Eastern European in some way. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Right.
But, I mean, at least they spread out the accents throughout the movie. But I did not understand why, if it was important that it was a Czech astronaut that Czechoslovakia was trying to get into the space race.
Right.
And all of their their phone calls or the things they had to plug as, advertisements were like Czechoslovakian companies.
Right.
Why, if it's so important, why did they put freaking non-Czechoslovakians in it?
The director obviously had this idea. He had this story. He gets that Netflix call. He gets that Netflix money. He gets Adam Sandler. He gets Carey Mulligan. And it's like, okay, well, this thing just blew up on me. All right, this is awesome. There were these conversations because we have these conversations. Wait a second. Should we change maybe all of this Czech stuff to, sort of Americanize it? Should we make him an American? Should we make it to where he grew up in America, but his father was from Czechoslovakia? All of these ideas, and somebody would not budge.
Well,
they would not budge. It was either the director or the writer or the producer. Somebody was like, no, it has to be this. It has to be this. And it has to be this.
Ashton Kutcher. It's not like we don't have people with Czechoslovakian backgrounds in the acting pool.
I could see Ashton Kutcher in that role.
And wouldn't it given me that little bit?
What if you put Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis? Because Mila Kunis is Ukrainian.
That would make damn sense.
That would have made much more sense.
Maybe Adam Sandler was throwing money in. I just think, like, Americanize it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Or, if it's really important that it is Czech, use them as actors.
Mm-hmm.
And at times, it felt very foreign film. The ending felt like a foreign film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sitting there looking at, like, a British girl and a guy from Brooklyn.
It also felt like they had too much money to make the movie. You know, I think it would have been a better movie if it would have been more compact. It would have been smaller. I feel like
if things had been more shabby looking.
Yeah, well, you know, and the fact that when they go out into space, you know, how long that they're out in space, how unbelievably crazy it is out in space. You know, it's just sometimes when you don't have as much money, you know, you can build up other things.
Yeah.
Instead of just, you know,
throw money at it.
Just completely just drown the thing in visuals. You know, and it definitely did. It got drowned in visuals.
Adrian Brody.
Oh, okay.
Wouldn't Adrian Brody have been amazing? And when the monster calls him skinny human,
he's not a monster. He's our friend.
When he calls him skinny human,
yes,
he would have been calling Adrian Brody a skinny human. He's like a Ichabod Crane's body type.
That's true. That's true. Because God bless you, Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler has a body like mine. I mean, you know,
I didn't understand why the thing was calling him skinny human. I'm just like, this is stupid. He is not skinny.
Right. And he's not a monster. He's our friend.
You cast it better.
With Ashton Kutcher
and Mila Kunis.
It's weird. Why don't more married couples do movies together?
Well, that's like John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. They're doing The Quiet Place. And look, The Quiet Place has turned into a damn franchise.
This is true.
And I didn't think the first movie made a whole lot of damn sense because if you wanted to be quiet,
you're gonna go off on the corn, aren't you?
If you wanted to be quiet, you would not be raising corn right next to your house.
That corn ruined your life. You will always remember that corn.
Snapped a corn cob off of a stalk?
Look, what are they supposed to grow? Okay, they've got to grow something.
You have to grow something that's quiet.
Quiet, like what, potatoes? But then you have to dig.
Well, but you can dig quiet. I think you could dig more quietly than you could snap a corn cob
There was a whole Reddit about like the things in The Quiet Place that don't make sense. And one of the other ones is, why don't you build the house close to a waterfall?
Yeah, just build it somewhere noisy.
I would be terrible at like not making noise.
Oh my God, you're
fucking awful.
You're the loudest human I've ever been in a room with.
I don't think that's possible.
You're so loud.
I don't think it's I am the loudest human
that
you have ever been in a room with.
Yes, that I've ever been in a
folks,
room with.
I would love to hear
everything you do is loud.
If you feel, anyone who knows me, if they feel that I'm
breathe loud.
Okay, Joshua Owens, I want you to comment on this. Joshua, you are my best friend for many, many years. Probably
he lived with us. He knows how loud you are. I wanted to do a little public service announcement.
Oh, thank you. The more you know.
So a thing that I've been noticing with content creators and like even, people on Zooms or, I mean, shockingly from like professional, like podcasters. Okay.
These are the loudest onions in the world. I'm so sorry.
See, I told you you're loud. Okay. People, we have to change the batteries in our smoke detectors.
Interesting.
Specifically, the reason that I notice this every time it happens is because our dogs have very keen senses of hearing. And
except when you call them, and then they act like they've never seen you before in their lives.
They're just ignoring us. They are very attuned to the beep of a smoke detector. the beep that comes when you don't change the batteries. And I will be watching something. You'll be on a Zoom teaching something. And people's beeping, it happens like every, so many minutes.
It does.
And like I see it with like content creators on TikTok. And it's like, I'll just be like enjoying watching. I could even have headphones in.
Right.
And I hear the beep.
Right.
And they immediately react. They go insane.
Yeah, this is true.
So not just for me and my dogs, but also like if you're trying to be a professional at something and you're trying to like, maybe turn this into a living or make money off of it, like have the sense to replace it's 2 AA batteries or maybe a 9-volt.
That has happened. Anytime that happens where ours goes off,
it's unstoppable.
And we can't stop it.
It's unstoppable.
Then the only answer is to just beat it until it's dead.
In the middle of the damn night, ours just starts going off. Fire.
Right.
I'm like, well, hit the button and reset it. No, not working.
No.
I'm like, take it outside.
I went full 2001 on it.
You were like, yes.
I was like the ape just beating it on the rock.
You were like Moses throwing down the stone tablets. You put it on a rock and beat it with rocks. You shoved it into the armoire, and our intention...
And I covered it with blankets.
Yeah, our intention was to like send, give it back to the landlord.
Right.
And tell him what happened. A week or two later, I'm like getting out of the shower, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, I'm convinced like there's a wild animal hiding in the house somewhere, possibly a raccoon. And I walk by that armoire and I'm like straining to hear, and I hear like this and I go in there and I'm like, oh Jesus, if I pull out like some gopher or something, I'm gonna die.
If I pull out a gopher.
And then I uncover that freaking smoke detector.
That's
and
right.
It's going
Yes, it's going
I'm
full,
like, are you
full
kidding
Amityville,
me?
folks. It was.
Are you kidding me? And I'm like shaking. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, it's
So, yeah, you did take it to the landlord and gave it to him in its state, all cracked apart.
I was like, I'm sorry. I had to break this thing apart to keep it from...
I'm begging you, not just for your safety.
Right.
Because you have no batteries in your smoke detector and your house catches on fire,
That's
you'll
true.
be dead.
We're not encouraging you to get rid of your smoke detectors. I don't want a lawsuit on my hands.
No, I'm saying if they're beeping, they're not working for you anyway.
That's a good point.
Okay? They're not working.
This
They're
is
just
an
beeping.
indicator of a problem.
Yeah, and imagine you're on your work Zoom and it's beeping and they're like, this person can't even take care of themselves.
That's right. This person is a walking dead man.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the way people are thinking about you, folks. Why won't you go see Godzilla, Kong,
This is why.
whatever, X
This is specifically
-1,
why.
whatever.
And I love Godzilla and I love King Kong. I love creature features.
Godzilla -1 was amazing.
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 This is the one reason why. That baby King Kong.
The baby King Kong, yes.
I don't like the color of it.
There are monkeys that have a red color, like you're talking,
Apes,
yeah,
possibly.
like orangutans and things like that.
Yeah, and it's not that color.
Okay, well,
And it's like a gritty orange. That crazy gritty character. It's like that. It looks like gritty.
Philadelphia mascot.
Yeah, it
it's
looks like gritty.
Okay.
Okay, all they had to do was show me that little baby King Kong, and I was out.
That's true.
Because to me, I'm like, oh, that's Jar Jar Binks.
I remember when the Godzilla cartoon came out, and in the Godzilla cartoon, they had Godzuki.
And Godzuki.
That would have been a better choice.
Yeah, a baby
Godzilla would have been a much better choice.
Maybe there is a baby Godzilla.
Maybe there is a baby Godzilla.
So there's a baby Kong and a baby
Godzilla. And maybe the baby Kong and baby Godzilla, they become friends and
then they're going
they
down.
do Legos together.
They're going down through the electricity into the underneath world where there's like Kongs and there's a bad Kong. And I'm like, no. No. The
No.
story is always they're attacking us. Or like the one where, Kong is attacking Godzilla because Godzilla's killing us and he's protecting us.
That's not, though, accurate, because when you go back to the original Japanese films, sometimes Godzilla was the hero.
Okay, well, I don't care really who's the hero.
Because it's like when going up against Mothra
or other...
yes, exactly.
They're worse than Godzilla.
Yes, exactly.
Godzilla -1 really rebooted that whole genre.
Yeah, that's true. It did.
It really did. It gave it a whole new tone.
Yes.
And
it felt like it was back to the original. It was back.
Shitting the bed.
It was old school.
Shitting the bed.
What? No, not Godzilla -1 was shitting the bed.
No, this new one.
Oh, maybe. The first Omen looks, to me, the trailer was scary.
Yeah.
It was a really good trailer.
Yeah.
And the story of the Omen is such an awesome story.
Here's the thing. I really like to curl up and watch those kinds of movies at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely not seeing Godzilla in the theater.
I think we should see the first Omen in the theater.
I will not see that in the theater.
Well, no.
It's too big.
We might see it at the drive-in.
There's too much space.
What about at the drive-in?
It's less scary.
Yeah, it is. It is less scary, but at least it's, it's more fun than seeing it at home. Plus you have to wait. You have to wait a couple of months to see it at home, man.
I know, but to me, it's worth it. There are just theater movies and there are home movies.
Okay, so Godzilla versus King Kong is not a theater movie?
Yes, it is a theater movie.
Yes, it is.
And I think it's a bad one. And I'll just watch that at home.
Okay.
It has to be specific to get me to go.
You have really lost your taste for theater movies. Fact that
Dune 2, you had to see that in the theater.
Yeah, absolutely. But like Alex Garland's Civil War, you don't want to go see that.
What? In a theater? No.
Yes, it's going to be epic. It's going to be crazy.
I think it's going to be so dumb.
Oh, I don't think it's going to be dumb.
Kirsten Dunst?
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Kristen Dunst.
Did you see the way she was trying to be hard and she was just talking through her teeth? It was like, my chin doesn't move.
I like Kirsten Dunst, but
so mad.
There are parts that she should not be doing. There are just parts that she should not be doing. It's like when
Tara Reid played a scientist.
Oh.
Or like in Origian last week, whenever I was reading all that science jargon, there are just some people that can't pull that off.
You are pulling it off great, babe.
I can't pull that off.
I was seeing you in a white coat and nothing else.
Oh,
you had nothing on underneath it,
with
babe.
With this voice, I was never meant to be a scientist.
Some hot little glasses. What's that new program that came out? That it's like Midjourney.
It's been out for a while. Sora,
yeah,
Sora AI,
right?
Yeah, I see a lot of commercials for that, and everybody's like, "Oh,
And now it's on your phone, right? You can actually do things on your phone.
Yeah, they say that. I haven't actually seen people doing it. I've only seen the commercials,
right?
And the first Sora video that came out was really weird because it was like, oh, look at how great it is. And I was watching this video of a woman in bed.
Right.
And she rolled over. And I was like, yeah, but she has no fucking arms.
Mm-hmm.
What is the shape of that arm?
Right.
And I'm like, no. I mean, it's not.
It's
a tool.
When you go into the specifics,
if you look at their ankles or the way the mechanics of the way the body works,
their fingers, their hands,
their mouths.
Yeah, it's always the mouth, man. The mouth is always the most fucked up thing.
Yeah, the mouth and the eyes. Heck, now you've got stories coming out about people falling in love with their AI chat bots.
Right.
Because there's AI dating now.
Right.
I mean, it's just. I think WALL-E was probably the most accurate version of the future we've ever seen.
So
where everybody's just sitting in a chair.
Eat a lot of snacks.
We're just sitting in chairs,
I'm okay
eating
with that.
snacks, gaining weight, and looking at screens.
I'm already doing that.
Or possibly the Matrix. The Matrix where we're just plugged in and we're floating around in our own poop and food.
I had 2 scripts that came to me this last week, and they were very, very different quality from each other, but both of them opened up with a voiceover. It's just the laziest way to start anything. is using voiceover.
Some instances need the setup. Like, for instance, Shawshank. And if you got fucking Morgan Freeman.
Shawshank. Or,
if you got Morgan Freeman, like, write all the voiceovers you want.
Well, for example, Blade Runner didn't have a voiceover until they'd already did the movie.
Right.
And basically the producers
they were like, we got to catch people up.
We've got to have some kind of a voiceover, at the top here. And actually, Harrison Ford has been accused of almost trying to sabotage it by doing the world's shittiest voiceover on the beginning of Blade Runner.
Oh. Well, a bad voiceover can kind of like ruin the vibe. Especially when you're sitting there going, why am I having to listen to this voiceover?
Right.
Like, this is not helping me at all. I'm seeing the shots. Like, I don't need the information. In some way, you're kind of like, oh, my audience is stupid. So many times it's like they use a voiceover to get into a script. Mm-hmm. Okay. They're like, okay, I'm just going to use a voiceover to tell this story.
Right.
And then they never return to it.
Yeah.
It's the rule of threes.
You've got to do it at least 3 times.
You got to do it 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, when you said like, the last 2 scripts you had gotten started with voiceover, I was like, ooh, because I'm writing a Revolutionary War piece.
Right.
It starts with a voiceover.
There was a very funny moment yesterday where Tracy was like, I think we're maybe doing ourselves a disservice because people really can't get a handle on what our films are. I mean, are they this? Some of our films are this.
We're genre skipping.
Yeah, we're genre skipping. We're going all around to all these other things. And she's like, I think we really need to kind of gear in on something to where people can go, okay, Jon and Tracy, this is what they make. And I say, oh, you mean like your Revolutionary War romance you're writing right now? And she went, okay, good point.
Maybe you nailed me. You nailed me on that.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't care about genre skipping. Okay, some of my favorite directors genre skip.
It's because of
it's awesome. I made fun of her, but it's absolutely awesome. And I can't.
I'm trying.
And here's the thing: I can't write shit like that. Okay, I can't do it.
Well, it's not easy, really. You really have to understand the time.
Right.
Like, it's a specific moment in time in 1780 to 1781. And I had to, because this is based on an ancestor of mine. Right. A, maybe 6th great grandmother. I really had to, do a lot of research, find out all about her family, when they were born, when they died, when they got married.
It's really funny to listen to you read it back. Because it's like, oh, this is one of those movies that Tracy watches that I never watch.
It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's really fun. Sometimes I do feel silly.
I felt silly when I was writing Origian, and I was like, okay, and then she exits the spaceship, and there's gold flecks everywhere, and that felt silly. That felt like what am I doing here writing this? I don't know anything about this, but it was also kind of totally freeing, So I think that you're having that experience.
Speaking of, it's time for Origian.
That was a terrible transition.
Go to hell. Interior, Origian headquarters day. Identical tennis shoes are running on a treadmill that is part of the floor. One set runs fast, strong legs, tight abs, and a familiar face. It's 16-year-old Emmeline Ride. She's dressed the same as the other cadets in the Origian tracksuit. In front of all of them is a floor-to-ceiling screen that has images of fires, hurricanes, melting ice caps, and human misery. At the end of the loop, the image of the cosmos in all its splendor and beauty encompasses them. Then the horror loop begins again.
Montage. Emmeline studying, practicing inside her spaceship, eating and talking with other girls in the program. She looks over at Matthew, who's the same age and has a moppy head of hair. She tends her garden. Emmeline finishes Robbie's full-size dog body.
Interior, Origian Arboretum day. Emmeline is sitting on a bench in the glass bubble, studying star charts. She looks over at Matthew, who is on a bench reading on his study device. Some of the other girls in the program are laughing and standing around Robbie. Bryn, another cadet, is harassing Emmeline's robot.
Bryn. Robbie, hump!
Bryn acts like she's humping, and Robbie twists his head. Robbie tries to imitate the gesture and fails. The girls laugh.
Bren, stupid trash can.
Stella, a cadet with glasses, grabs Bren's small bag and throws it at the glass dome.
Stella, Robbie, fetch.
Robbie runs to get it and smacks into the glass. He picks up the bag and Bren tries to get it out of his clamped mouth. Robbie won't let go.
Bren, let go, metal monkey.
Stella, just tell him release.
Release, release. Bren starts kicking him. Emmeline notices and walks over. Matthew watches this whole thing from his bench.
Bren, tell your robo-mutt to let go of my shit.
Emmeline, it's his choice.
Stella, no, it's not. He's not sentient. What's the command?
Bren pulls very hard and the bag rips. Emmeline, Robbie, drop.
Robbie lets the bag go and lays down in a heel position. Matthew gets up and walks over.
Bren, why didn't you say that before? You broke my bag.
Emmeline, he needs to figure things out for himself.
Bren, you're just a freak with a grudge.
Emmeline, it makes him more like a real dog to make his own mistakes and learn from them.
Bren, look, doggy style. Keep your box of bolts away from me.
Stella, yeah, doggy style.
Emmeline, this is your fault. He didn't do anything wrong.
Emmeline pets Robbie's head. The girls walk away laughing.
I wish more people treated each other the way that you treat Robbie.
Matthew smiles and walks away.
There was a poster at the vegan restaurant Bloodroot, which is the documentary that Tracy's editing. And in the bathroom, and it had like 15 famous women. And I looked at the poster and it was like, I think there have only been movies about like 3 of these. And I don't think that that would be the experience if you had a poster of like 15 famous men.
Yeah. No, there's been
It would be like a dozen of them would have had movies or television shows or something about them.
I saw a meme. I made Twitter. I made Facebook. I made Apple. And then Hetty says, I made Wi-Fi.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so many stories like that. There's so many stories like that. You just have to, you have to know how to tell them. Well, you're doing it. You're telling it.
I'm trying. And it matters.
It does matter.
It matters because, kids and teenagers are watching movies.
Yes.
That's a major input into their life. And when you see that performed for you,
absolutely,
you can see it for yourself.
There was a big controversy on Facebook where they're remaking the Robert Mitchum movie, Night of the Hunter. Okay,
that's a motherfucker who is sexy.
And, that's the one where he's like the pastor and he kidnaps the children. And there's parts of it that are almost like puppetry. And,
I wonder
the
if
black
that's
and white
on
one. It's incredible.
Pluto. Is that on Pluto?
Probably so. Night of the Hunter is incredible. Okay, nobody gets mad about the fact, why are they remaking Hamlet? Because it's an amazing story. Okay, and I feel that way about any story. So just remake it in a new way.
I mean, really, every generation is not really going to watch the thing the last generation did.
No, they're not going to watch Nick Nolte and, and they're definitely not going to watch Humphrey Bogart.
But there are some things you're like, really, that wasn't even good in the first place. Like, why are we remaking this?
And sometimes...
Like Roadhouse.
Well, okay. Well...
Why are we remaking Roadhouse?
Well, I think that...
Why did we Hollow Man?
And if you remake something and don't understand...
They remade The Invisible Man 3 times at least.
Like the remake of Poltergeist was shit.
It was terrible.
It was awful because they had no idea what made the first movie great.
No, they did not understand. And like the remake of the one where the walls bleed... Amityville.
Yes.
They remade Amityville.
Yeah, that one wasn't as bad.
It wasn't as bad, but it was still like, you're missing the point.
Right.
The point of these like very personal stories that are at the core of these things.
Right.
It's not just about ghosts.
And it's about the people and about the character development and about like you have to fall in love with somebody and then, you destroy them, that's how you do it.
Build up to destroy them.
Right. But you have to build them up first, folks.
All right.
Well,
we got to shut up.
Well, I know. And I want to build you up, Bib. Build me up, Buttercup.
It's hard not to get romantic about movies. Thanks for listening to Married to Movies. Jon and Tracy will meet you for breakfast tomorrow.